Hi, how are you? Hope you're well. Thank you for coming back to my channel. It's been a month since my last update, and I promised that I would talk about my law school journey thus far. And I have to say that my second semester is going really well. Perhaps it's because I'm feeling a lot more confident in myself, and just having some grades back, it just really solidifies a lot of everything that I've been learning in the first semester, carrying over to the second semester. Today I'm going to talk about what I've learned about law school personally for myself and my personal experiences so far. And just a kind reminder for future viewers, this is being recorded during COVID era, so I am doing 1L law school online. So if you're watching this video, you must be either really bored, or you are a aspiring law student, aspiring lawyer, or you're in law school like me and just want to know what other students are feeling. So this video is by all means not really practical. It's more of addressing how I'm feeling emotionally, personal growth, and so forth. So if you're looking for a practical advice video or just what I have gained practically, then this is not the right video, but I will make another one shortly. Okay, so the first thing I learned being in law school is that no one actually cares about your past experiences. So whether you are coming from retail or government or even a law firm, no one cares. You can share all these experiences, but that doesn't make you any more special than any other person. And what I learned from law school is that when you go, everybody levels out. So if you are in an undergrad right now and you're feeling a little self-conscious about yourself and thinking about how, oh, I don't have any experiences in the legal field and I must get legal experience prior to going to law school, that is not true. So I have peers who are former engineers, former teachers, working in government, some really exceptional work. However, I felt that none of that is relevant to learning how to assess the law or read the law or anything. None of those experiences that you've had really apply to law school. So if you're feeling like you need to have some kind of legal job before going into law school, that's not correct. I'm gonna bust that myth right there. Okay, so the second one I want to talk about is that your grades in your undergrad and your LSAT score does not matter. You could be coming into law school with a 4.0 in your undergrad or with a 170 LSAT. No one cares how well you did, and they shouldn't care. So, as I'm saying, coming into law school, of course your grades will matter to a certain degree, and your LSAT score will also matter to a certain degree. However, once you do get into law school, none of that matters because you're all starting from the bottom once again. So the competition is not necessarily there in that sense. So if you're in your undergrad and you are thinking, my undergrad grades are really bad and my LSAT score is going to reflect my performance in law school, I'm also going to bust that myth and say nope. I did really well in my undergrad, and my last 2 years were almost a 4.0, and my cumulative GPA was close to 3.6, which contains all 4 years, by the way. And my LSAT score was very mediocre. Very, very mediocre. If you want to know what my LSAT score is, I'll just leave it for the next video, but I have to say, and I will firmly say this here, that my GPA in my undergrad and my LSAT score has no reflection on how I'm doing in law school. And I think I'm doing pretty well in law school, but it has nothing to do with how well I performed in my undergrad and how well I performed on the LSAT. So once you're here, and you're starting from the beginning all over again. On my third point, shifting from undergrad into law school is a huge difference in terms of grades. Now, before you freak out about, failing out of law school, a good chunk of law students fall into the median, which is the middle grade that they generally give out. A lot of the law school exams and papers and projects and so forth are curved to a B, which is the median, where the majority of students need to sit. So if you are someone like me coming from undergrad with straight A's, A's, A minuses, A pluses, getting a B in law school is a huge shock. It's a slap in the face, but at some point you learn to be comfortable with mediocrity. And that is something I'm going to drill into your head, that getting a B in law school is really good, because that means maybe half of your class is getting that score, and then your top 5% is going to get the A's, and then everyone else is getting a C or a D. So when you get into law school, or if you ever get into law school, don't worry about the grades. Do worry about passing, do worry about getting a B. But my underlying message is that when you come into law school, abolish all of those thoughts that you've had from undergrad where you must get A's, you only get A's because that's your, self-worth measure. Get rid of that and come into law school with a brand new mindset, thinking, I am here looking to do the best I can, and sometimes the best is gonna look like a B. And I am a straight B, B plus student, and I'm okay with that. The fourth thing I've learned being in law school and on Zoom, perhaps this is different in person, I will have to let you know when I do go back in person, and I believe that I will be going back in person sometime in the fall, if it ever happens, given that Canada gets its life together and we somehow become on track with our vaccines. I will be able to provide much more meaningful messages in these videos. So, but going back to my point here is that being on Zoom and being asked to participate by professors, a lot of the professors like to use this method called the Socratic method, which is just a random way of picking out students in the crowd and just asking them to answer questions on the fly. And my school is very nice, and a lot of my professors do give warm calls, so they would email us and just give us a heads up that we're going to be asked a question in class. Very nice. But if you're feeling like, oh crap, like I'm gonna say the dumbest thing in class, trust me, no one cares. I've said the dumbest thing in class. I've made up stuff on the fly. Sometimes I will simply choose to participate because I just want the class to end, so I'll just say anything I want just so that the class will end and we don't drag it out. And the honest truth is, no one remembers, no one cares, unless you're saying something overt, such as sexist and racist and etc. And I know this is a message that I shouldn't need to deliver to you, that you shouldn't say these things, but you'd be surprised in an institution full of intellects where they would say these things. So other than that, you can say whatever you want as long as you tried. When you come into law school and you do your classes and you're doing your readings and you're feeling like, oh my god, I am so lost, I have no idea what's going on, I don't know what the hell my readings are saying, it's in another language, it's in Latin, it's written in these blocks of text and you can't decipher what they're saying, 100% of that and whatever you're feeling, another person is feeling the exact same thing. Because I can guarantee you that no one is coming into law school unless you are exceptionally brilliant and you come from a long line of lawyers and you are a paralegal or something like that. Chances are you will not know how to understand cases. And when you get into law school, your first class is going to be overwhelming. The first couple of classes and the couple of readings that you're going to do are exceptionally difficult because you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know what you're reading for, and the language is different too. So whatever you're internalizing and whatever you're feeling, another person is feeling the same exact thing. So I wouldn't be so self-conscious about that. Okay, so this is one of the biggest thing that I felt entering into law school, and I thought I wouldn't have this problem, is imposter syndrome. And you know, you're going into school with a bunch of smart people. Like, you can't forget the fact that it is exceptionally hard to even get into law school in the first place. In Canada overall, there are thousands, maybe, I don't know, ballpark number, like 10,000 students. Maybe that's too many students, but anyways, you get my point. So there are a lot of that, like thousands of students that are applying to law school, and each school accepts up to maybe 200 max students per school. And how many law schools do we have in Canada? Maybe 13 or 14. Forgive me, it's been a while, I forget. But yeah, there's only 13 to 14 law schools in Canada, so you have to think that law schools are picking some of the brightest students from all over the country, and you're shoving them all into the same section, the same class, and you're competing against your peers. Like, the way that law school works is that you're pitting smart people against smart people, and the reality is that you're not the only smart person anymore. So while you were sitting in undergrad feeling like I'm the smartest shit around, yeah, the truth is you're going to be so humbled coming into law school that you're going to realize that, whoa, that was an A+ paper in undergrad is now a B. I lived through it to just say that. So, you know, you gotta have some perspective. So imposter syndrome is going to happen, it's unavoidable, but it's really important to come into law school with the mindset that everyone around you is smart and you can't be hard on yourself. And you're going to have orientation week, and depending on your school, they're going to talk about mental health, and you're going to be paired up with peers and mentors, and they're going to tell you the same thing. They're going to say, you know, don't compare yourself to other people. You're going to feel an imposter syndrome. You're going to feel like you're not smart enough. You're not this and that. But like I said, to my previous point, is that whatever you're feeling, the person next to you, or the person next to you on Zoom, or your friends that you make, they are all feeling the same thing. So I'd like to say that this is a collective suffering, if anything. I learned another thing that is so important to me, and it's about establishing relationships with people, even if it's online. I think being in law school is already hard enough. You are expected to randomly learn brand new things in a completely different way, and it's way more isolating to do it alone, particularly even online. So I highly recommend, and what I learned for myself is to go out of your way to make friends. And I have quite a tight-knit group of friends who live all over the country, who are all in the same class as me, but I need them, and I think that they make a difference. And this semester I'm taking a class called Happiness in the Law, and one of the readings I did, it's called The Happy Lawyer, and in one of the chapters the author talks about how being in law school, you're going to be way happier if you learn how to make friends, and friends will help you get through law school simply because it's communal suffering. And that's me, that's what I'm quoting, communal suffering. It's a lot easier to suffer with other people than completely alone. So if you somehow are watching this video in the middle of the summer and you're thinking, oh my god, I have to go online in the fall, I'm going to tell you right now, go out of your way to make some friends, because you're going to need them. And you're going to need them for notes, you're going to need them for explanation, or you're just going to need someone to rant about XYZ. Here's another thing that I learned coming into law school was discipline. You need a lot of discipline to be ahead or even be on top. And it sounds weird for me to brag about it, but I am one of the smaller percentage of people that actually did every single one of my readings in my first semester of law school. And I'm happy to report that I am also one of those people in my second semester that is ahead. And why I take so much pride over it is because it is a lot of reading. For example, a class may occur 3 times a week, and each class you are expected to do maybe 30 to 50 pages of reading, and you are doing this over 7 classes. That's right, I took 7 classes in my first semester, and it's not because I wanted to, because honestly it's because someone in the school decided that it was a good idea. And I hear that this is a very common occurrence with all other law schools in Canada. I hear that Dalhousie Law School does 10 courses in one semester. And mind you that these courses are usually year-round in the first year. So it kind of balances out. But back on my point is that you definitely need to have some form of discipline. And I learned a lot of my skills of discipline from writing the LSAT and my past work life, where I worked as a legal assistant. And when you're working with lawyers, you have to be incredibly on top of your work, and you have to basically know their schedule. So it helped. But I think to do well in law school is to have good habits. So if you are one of those people in undergrad that literally did absolutely nothing, which was me, I did nothing. I was constantly on Netflix, gossiping, flirting. Like, I did a lot of those things. Yeah, that's not something you could do in law school. You really have to set some clear work ethics and timelines for yourself. And on my last point, you definitely want to reach out to mentors or upper years for advice. They are a fountain of knowledge, and if you like, you can reach out to me as well, or you could visit that terrible website called lawstudents.ca. I wouldn't go on there unless you have a very brave soul. But otherwise, reach out to someone who is in law school and just ask them about their experiences and ask them what they would do if they could do it all over again. Alright, if you stuck here for this long, then thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I will come back with another update eventually. But until then, goodbye!